Hi guys, welcome back to Power and Poise. I am your girl, the Rambar. We give you everything real and raw, aka Deasia. You know, we like to fluctuate the name. Today we have a very special guest. We have Tasha. Okay, let's get into how powerful this episode is about to be because she is the owner of Elevate Box, and this is going to be your monthly accountability partner. Okay, this is going to be a box that's going to keep you in check while also keeping you grounded. And she's all about wellness, personal growth, mocktails, and she's a plant enthusiast. And you guys aren't ready for the gems that she's about to drop. So, no further ado, Tasha, welcome.
Hi, Deasia. Thank you so much for having me. I'm definitely excited to be here and talk about all things wellness and accountability with you.
So let's dive right into it. Let us know a little bit about you, about your box, about just kind of even how you got here. I think we all had unique stories about when we started to really take a hold of our wellness because so many different things are about wellness and you can kind of get lost in just the material realm of it. So we would love to know just how you got here, your box, and all things Tasha.
Yeah, sure. So I'm from Chicago. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and I have lived most of my adult corporate life working in corporate sales. And I started my career very early, and working in sales, it can be a bit of a roller coaster sometimes. And one thing that I feel like I always kept really close to helping me to be successful and also just helping me to stay grounded is staying close to my self-care, wellness, and personal growth journey. And so for me, like I said, I worked in sales for over a decade. And while I was working, I decided to also start the wellness subscription box company that I have, which is the Elevate Box. But basically, during the pandemic, well, I'll rewind. I've always been a huge fan of subscription boxes. I mean, FabFitFun, Ipsy, BoxyCharm, I've done them all, and I've always just loved the concept of getting a present in the mail to myself from myself. Just loved it. And basically, during the pandemic, there was a point in time where I felt like I wanted more from what I was getting because I was getting lots of makeup boxes, but we weren't really going anywhere. So I wasn't really wearing all the makeup. I was still getting my shoe boxes, not wearing these heels that I was getting. And so one day I just Googled subscription boxes for women to see what else was out there that I could gift to myself. But in doing so, I realized that there wasn't really anything else that I was interested in. And so I just stuck with the ones that I had. But about a year later, I went through a period in my life where I just got really, really in tune with my wellness, working out a lot more, my fitness goals, and things like that. And so I went from wanting to start a fitness box to really just telling myself, like, Tasha, right now you're really into fitness, but is this your true passion? And it turned out that
Mm.
it wasn't just that one thing. I was actually passionate about overall wellness. So your fitness, your mental health, how you treat your mind, your body, what are we putting in our bodies, how are we communicating with others, all of these different things. And so I decided to start a subscription box that was centered on all these different topics. But not just centered on those different topics to help people, but also something that would inspire, motivate, and reward them too.
Wow, that's so powerful because in life, I think especially as Black women, we kind of have all these different interests, right? And we don't know where to put it in. Like even your job, completely different in the surface level sense, but that baseline of cells and your personality and all of those things equipped you to be here. And
Yeah.
everything, I always love to see the alignment of, I really want to do a fitness box. And they're like, yes, but more. Because
Hmm.
we have these ideas at times that just need to be expanded or push us in the direction to go where we need to go. So I love your story. I think it's so powerful. The boxes are so cute. And just to have that, I never thought of it that way, of just having like a little gift to yourself, something to look forward to. You know, the hustle and bustle of life can get us so caught up that we're just like, oh, I'll just go to the store once in a blue moon and treat myself and do this, or we consider treating ourselves going out to eat or like going out to dinner, when it's like we treat ourselves in other ways that are cohesive with our wellness goals.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
So yeah, we there's gonna be a lot of moments, y'all, where I take pauses because as I speak to different people, for me, it personally just confirms so much that I'm learning within this wellness journey. Because it's a never ending journey, but to hear people actually pursue this as well as take this so serious that this is a lifestyle. I think, especially now with social media and TikTok, it's kind of become a trend. Like, oh,
Mhm.
my self care, my what? But it's like, okay, well, what does it really mean to you, and how are you genuinely doing that in your day to day life?
Exactly, exactly. And with what you said, when it comes to the trendy things, it's like, yes, it looks cute, it looks great to do your skincare routine, take the bubble bath, and do all of these things. But at the same time, self-care, literally the definition is nurturing your mental and your physical health. And
Mm-hmm.
so that is one thing that I feel like we always have to call out is like, hey, it's not just about the things that you're buying, but also how are you taking care of your mind, your mindset, and things like that. And with Elevate, we are very intentional, not just with the products that go in the box, but we also have a toolkit and resources that come with the box that help people to do the inner work as well so that they are taking care of their mental health.
And that's going to just bring us right into accountability.
Mhm.
Because are you holding yourself accountable though? Now, I will be the first one, and I have said this probably on every episode and say it all the time. Accountability is probably one of the hardest things that you have to do with yourself in the beginning. You got to get real with yourself. You got to lay out the foundation. You have to figure out what habits are really keeping me here. So, I would love to know about your accountability journey because you don't just get to holding yourself accountable overnight.
Yeah, 100%. I think for me, my accountability journey kind of stemmed from the way that I grew up. My grandparents raised me. I have four siblings, so there's five of us. And so it's just something that they really instilled in us very young. My grandmother, she was Miss Independent, do it to a T. You're going to
I
get
know that.
this done. And so it's just something that I grew up with. And then as I got older, I will say that I feel like I didn't really, like when I was in college, I didn't treat myself the best when it came to the things that I needed for my wellness journey. I was eating all types of foods. I was doing the most with the habits that I had, just too much. And it wasn't until I got older where I really started to see, like, hey, this is something that is going to affect my health. This is something that
Mm-hmm.
will not just affect me, but can potentially affect myself, my family, and my future family as well. And so I think that with accountability, all it is just doing the things that you say you're going to do. And it sounds like sometimes this big scary thing, but it's just keeping your promises to yourself. That's it. And I think that if we can just reframe how we look at accountability to not be this big scary thing, but something that's actually pushing us forward, then it can help us to do the things that we're promising ourselves that we're going to do a lot quicker and a lot easier.
And I like that you brought up college because most of my listeners are going to be either from my school or around my age in college or
Mhm.
entering college. And with symmetrically social media kind of putting this trend on wellness, we do have the individuals who are wanting to actually pursue this wellness journey, but kind of get caught in between this middle place. And I definitely am in this middle place of, okay, am I being too hard on myself because I'm not holding myself accountable, or am I going through the flow of life? So I really resonated with what you said because it's all about a time thing. It's not going to happen overnight. Even me, I get extremely hard on myself. Like, okay, you're not sticking to those things. You're not sticking to what you said, but it's also a process. You
Yes.
you had to go through those things in college to be like, hey, where do you want to be in 5 years? What do you want your health to look like? What do you want life to look like for you? And if you didn't have those experiences in college, or you didn't have those days where it kind of just like woke you up, who knows where you would be now?
Yes, exactly. And to what you're saying, I feel like one of my favorite things is give yourself grace because things happen. And so let's say you decided I'm going to go to the gym It's 2025. I'm going to the gym 5 days a week because these are my goals and this is what I'm going to do. But let's say you miss a day because you're sick or you just didn't feel like it. We have to get to the point where we learn to give ourselves grace for missing things too. Because,
Mm,
okay, I missed this one day, but I made it those other 4 days. That's
yes.
huge because you're in a better place than where you were last year when you weren't going at all. So we also have to remember to give ourselves grace when we miss out on things. Yes, we're holding ourselves accountable, but things happen too.
And I love the grace part because I also am a really I say this a lot that this process can be very hard. Obviously hard in perspective of your personality, where you grew up and your values. So sometimes this wellness journey is going to be really hard when you're forcing yourself to do these habits because it's a force. There's going to be the days where you don't want to go and you're like, I have to roll out of bed. I have to do this point blank period. Or there's just going to be the days where it's like, I just can't. But understanding that both are okay, I think is the emphasis of grace because just like you said, you weren't like this last year. And often we get so caught up in the future, or the now, but not the now being present per se, but oh my God, I did not do this. Rather, well, look at how far you come. And okay, even if you do just go to the gym 3 times a week, or at least those days you're off if you're walking, or you achieve something else, that's still contributing to your future.
Exactly, exactly. And it's like when it comes to celebrating your wins, we have to not
Mm-hmm.
just celebrate those big wins. I ran a marathon or I don't know, I did a 5K, but also the small wins. Like, hey, I just started training. I just finally got into a routine that works for me. Those are huge wins that also deserve to be celebrated too.
So I would love if you have any tips about discipline because that goes hand in hand. If you are not disciplined, this is going to be a strenuous journey for you. And discipline and consistency go hand in hand because it's not the motivation. And we're seeing that now that people are understanding it's past the motivation, it's past the, oh my God, I want to look like this, or oh my God, I want to make this amount of money, or this is what I want to be. You can have the motivation, but how do you keep that discipline when that motivation is gone or those times are lacking?
Ooh, that is a good question. It's definitely something I used to struggle with a lot too. But what it comes down to is you really do have to look yourself in the mirror almost on a regular basis if discipline is something you struggle with and have that hard conversation of what am I doing? Where do I want to go? Sometimes you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? And that will
Mm,
help to instill the discipline in you, just knowing what your why is and what you want to get out of it and why you're working so hard. And so, when it comes to discipline, there's different things that you can do to help you build your discipline when it comes to getting better at time management, getting better with schedules, having those hard conversations. So there's different things that you can do. Also, sometimes spending money. It's like, hey, I'm spending this much money on this product or this gym membership. I want to do this so that I can get more discipline in my life. But it really is a lot of it really does come down to a mindset shift and having those hard conversations with yourself.
yeah, and I know for personally me, my gym membership, it's not the cheapest, but it's not the expensive. It's not that expensive, but being in college and having other responsibilities and being as independent as I can be, that is a motivating factor of like, okay, you really want to waste this money this month? That's why
Mhm.
the apps like Class Pass and like some Pilates class, they'll say like, oh, if you don't go to class, then you'll get a $30-$20 fee because it's like, okay, you're less likely, even physiologically and psychologically, to decline something if you're getting that negative reinforcement. So that's scientific thing, y'all. So if you have the extra funds or you have some means to at least push you in a direction to kind of give you some like forced accountability, I do completely agree that that will help.
hmm Yeah. And I think another thing too, I'm glad you brought up ClassPass, because it's also really important to know what works for you, what's going to work for your body. Sometimes you may not always enjoy it, but having something that makes it a little easier can also be helpful. So for someone who might be on, I don't know, a fitness journey. Maybe they're looking at a bunch of different types of classes like weightlifting, Pilates, I don't know, cardio, HIIT classes. And they're like, I don't like any of these, but I know that I like going to the gym with my friend who is my real life accountability partner. It's just you have to find ways to make it easier, and that'll also help with discipline too.
And I also really think ClassPass and like my membership, I have a membership at the YMCA, so they do a various amount of classes. I do think if we're talking in the space of fitness wellness, having those memberships to give you that variety, because sometimes we get bored. I think that's also a really big thing in accountability. Sometimes when we're doing that same routine, we're just like, ugh, I'm done. I just don't want to do it today. It's not like something that's sparking or something exciting. So taking those different classes or putting yourself in those spaces, I think also do kind of give you that excitement of like, I don't want to go, but I might like it. Or I might meet
Yeah.
someone new.
Yeah, exactly.
And in terms of accountability partner, let's take a little pivot to the side because let's really get into how to find an accountability partner because in this day and age, it's a little hard.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, it can be. I definitely agree. So when it comes to finding an accountability partner, there are a few key things I feel like you should definitely keep an eye out for. Because the one thing you don't want to happen is you find an accountability partner and then either they're not doing what you all committed to, or you're not doing what you committed to, and then, you're not moving anywhere. But one thing that you want to look for in someone is someone who aligns with what you're looking to do. So, I know we keep talking about fitness, but so I'll choose a different topic. So let's say you're looking for someone who wants to maybe help you balance self-care while also being a student, right? Because you want to make sure that, yes, I'm studying hard, I'm doing all of these different things, but I also want to make sure I'm taking care of my wellness too. And so if you're looking for something like that, for an accountability partner for that, maybe you can find someone who you can schedule spa days with, or maybe you can find someone who you can do like a cute movie night in where you work on, I don't know, different self-care things together. There's so many different things you can do. Or maybe you decide, you know what, let me get my girl and we're going to go this bouquet making class because that's also a form of self-care. So finding someone who is interested in the things that you're interested in, progressing in, and then doing those activities together. Or if you're not, so that I would say that would be the first key thing. And then another thing is also being very, very open and honest with your accountability partner too. So you want to find someone who you know you can trust is going to tell you, look, get it together because I didn't see you at the gym the other day. Hey, get it together because I know that we're working on these things together. So let's find a way for us to practice these intentional habits together. So finding someone who has similar interests in what you're progressing towards, finding someone who you can be open with and trust, and then finding someone who's going to celebrate your wins is very important too. You don't want to have an accountability partner who is, low-key shading you while you're supposed to be working on different things together too.
And there's something that you said of before and now, once again, this celebrating the small wins. I was just on threads last night for a quick moment,
Mhm.
and someone had posted if you are a black ADHD woman, write down your small wins. And now with
Mhm.
that, I only obviously that's for everyone, but I only included black women because women in general, we don't count our small wins, but like we get so caught up in the hustle and bustle that we just don't know. And we're so used to being multifaceted to survive and to thrive and do what we need to do that those small wins go over our head. And even last night, I'm typing and I'm like, I could not remember things that I know were small wins. And it made me really think like, you have to make a commitment to yourself to write these things down.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, 100%. And not even just a commitment, but I also think that reframing your mindset around what you consider a win too. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe I could throw out a bunch of examples. I won't right now because it'll take forever. But like there's so many little things that are, like I said, are a win, but it's just reframing your mindset on what you look at as a win in your life.
Yes, redefining your success is also something that I don't think many people talk about in their wellness journey, because that's going to be pinnacle. That's going to be the pinnacle of when everything changed. When you redefine what success means to you, and success is not linear. You can be a month in and it can adjust, it can shift, but redefining success to me allows you to see goals differently. And I think,
Yes.
just like you said, with the accountability, it allows you to also hold yourself accountable, because we're not having these extreme high measures of success. I need to lose X amount of weight. I need to journal every single night. I need to do a meditation every single night. I need to spend an hour reading a book. And then when we don't do it, because our measure of success is so high, that's when we see ourselves beat ourselves up and not give ourselves that grace.
100%.
It gets jumpy, it gets hard, y'all, but it's a process. That the first step, anyone who's listening, definitely the first step is like listening to these podcasts and having these wellness areas that are actually helping you, not the trendy social media, TikTok, like actual people who are doing deep dive in their domains and doing deep dives in these actual wellness practices to help your life. And I had to take such a deep sigh for this one, because time management is kicking my butt. So
Mhm.
let's just get right into the meat, because the time management is also the pinnacle in my eyes of even being able to, when you redefine what success means to you, if your time is not managed, you will continue to fall short.
Yes, yes. Time management, I feel like should almost be a class that we are taught in high school because it
Should
is
be.
so important to how we go about our day-to-day lives. Like there's so much that goes on in your life from work, school, family, friends, all of these different commitments. And when you're trying to make sure that you're taking care of these commitments that you have and balancing your wellness, it can be difficult. And so when it comes to time management, and just holding yourself accountable to your wellness goals and your wellness journey, they're literally best friends. They're best friends. And so it's important to make sure that you are setting aside that time to go to the gym. Put it on your calendar. Set aside that time to read a book. And I'm very neurospicy, recently diagnosed with ADHD. And so it's funny because like when I launched this box, I had no idea that I was creating something that I specifically needed for this reason. And so what I like about it is that, I'm getting these goodies in the mail every single month that are holding me accountable to help me to make sure I'm doing all of these different things like prioritizing self-care, prioritizing my fitness, prioritizing my wellness. But I think that with time management, if I get, a new fitness outfit in my box, okay, let me make sure that I'm staying, I know not everybody's going to do this, but I know, okay, I have this cute outfit. I'm definitely going to go to the gym and wear my new fitness apparel. Okay, I just got a new face mask. Oh, I'm not wasting my money. I'm using this skincare item too. So time management is definitely key because it's going to allow you to do the things that you say that you're going to do. For me, having a planner, I know not everyone likes written planners, but I have a written planner. And also, again, just having it on your calendar, set those alarms. That is definitely key to making sure that you're managing your time properly too.
Yeah. I just am doing such a deep sigh, because how do you manage having your hand in so many hats while also staying aligned with time management? Because I think many people, and I find myself where it's like getting caught up in the side quests, and especially I probably do have ADHD. I actually wouldn't be surprised at this point in my
Mhm.
life, but also having ADHD, or just having a personality or brain where you're just like going, going, going. How do you even organize your day to make sense and not get caught up on a side quest?
Yeah, good question. I think that it's it depends on when you feel like you function the best. There are some
Yeah.
people who are morning people. There are some people who are night people. There are some people who are middle of the day people. I think I'm a middle of the day person. Like 11 to 6, 7, that is my time to shine. But basically, when it comes to how to make sure that you're scheduling things efficiently, and identify what time of day you work best, and then put your hardest, I always say like the hardest things that you have to do, it's easiest to do those in the morning because you get them out of the way. And so let's say if you have a project that you're working on that you don't really want to do, or that you're constantly procrastinating on, put that project at the top of your day so that you can get it out of the way. Another thing is just, again, and make sure you put it in your calendar. Another thing that's very helpful for me is habit stacking. So basically, that is the concept of where you would do multiple things at once towards your goals. And so sometimes people say you shouldn't multitask, but I personally think it depends on what you're multitasking for. So let's say you have a goal to walk 10,000 steps a day, but you also know that you need to read this book for a class, or you also know that you want to finish this personal growth book or something like that. Habit stacking is where you'll get in that 10,000 steps on a treadmill or go outside for a walk and then listen to the audio book. So it's just finding ways where you can where you can basically layer the tasks that you're looking to do.
Yes, and let's pin to procrastination because procrastination is going to eat you up every time.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, this may be a little controversial, but as I'm learning about the psychology and actually what's happening in our brain, I don't really believe some people work good under pressure, but I also think a lot of people use it as a crutch for procrastination because you could have still gotten that task done. Now, I am not a person that says I work good under pressure, just personally me, but I know I've been around people and I've heard people say that, and then you can see them frazzled. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a little bit of a difference of, working under pressure under a time crunch, but I definitely do think a lot of people use it as a crutch because procrastination is going to be the killer of your success.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, procrastination is definitely a interesting topic. The thing with procrastination is it's a lot of the times it's connected to a specific reason. And so for a lot of people, they might procrastinate out of fear. Uh, for lots of people, it's usually a fear of success, like what happens when I do actually get this done. A lot of procrastination might also stem from just not knowing how to do something. A lot of procrastination might also come from, again, that overarching deadline and people working better under pressure. But when it comes to how to overcome it, I always say that if you have that deadline, you sometimes you do have to make a mental deadline in your head and set it for an earlier time than what it actually is. Like I
Yes.
used to procrastinate so much with time management. Like if I were going somewhere that I specifically now I mentally have a deadline in my head. If I'm supposed to be somewhere at 5, I'm like, no, Tasha, you need to be there at 4:30. Or if I have something due Friday, I mentally just tell myself, no, Tasha, you need to have this done by Wednesday. So sometimes again, it's all about how you're shifting your mindset for getting things done. And one other thing that I would recommend for people who are struggling with procrastination is I can't remember who it was, but someone wrote a book on it, where I think it's the 5-second rule, where if
Mm,
something that you need to work on, don't go past 5 seconds in delaying on whether or not you're actually going to get up and start that project, or whether or not you're going to get up and get out of bed, or whether or not you're going to do anything. Don't let your mind think too much on it because that's when the procrastination will kick in. And then another way that you can look at it is the same thing where if you have something that you're working on and that project or that task can be done in 5 minutes or less, don't wait to do it, just do it right away. If it's, oh, I need to respond to this email, but I'll do it later. It's going to take 30 seconds to respond to that email. So just do it right away. So those are just a couple of tips for helping to overcome that procrastination.
Yes, 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 yes. I was just gonna bring up the it's so funny you said 5 because I don't know why I've seen 2 seconds somewhere. I mean, someone probably said 2 seconds as well. But
Mhm.
just like even the straightening of the room, making your bed and doing all of these things in that small amount of time, it makes a difference. And personal testimony, I not that I feel like it's gonna come off wrong, but not at all. Not that I was ever dirty in the sense of cleanliness, but in sense of clutter. So I'm a girl who loves clothes, who loves makeup. I love little knickknacks and love all of these little things, but that can get cluttered in a room. And I would always be like, okay, I'll just have a big day to clean my room. That's my deep clean day. Obviously, like small important things throughout the week, but it got to a point when this was when I was extremely younger, probably about 5, 8 years ago, probably like 8 years ago. Um, and I would always leave it for a big clean day. And as I got older now, it's just like the small fixing that, wiping down, making the bed. And it makes sweeping at the end of the night. And that's just something that comes with maturity. But it makes such a difference when you also incorporate that into like what you said, just responding to an email. If you got to just send someone a text, because I think all of us have been culprits of having a bunch of text lines just in our phone, like, oh, I'll respond to that later. And then it's like unread messages, unread emails. And subconsciously, you get overwhelmed when you look at your phone and you have all these notifications of these things that you pushed off for 5 minutes, pushed off for 5 minutes, which brings us back to the beginning of time management of where you feel like you wouldn't know where to start.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know what? I'm glad we brought it back to time management because one other thing that I forgot to mention when it comes to something that would be helpful is time blocking your day as well. And so, you know, how you're saying, okay, well, sometimes I like to save, well, you used to like to save it for a different day, for one day a week. You could also do that within your day too. Say, hey, at this point, at this time of day, I'm going to clean, or this time of day I know is going to be specifically for emails. This time of day is specifically for me to work on content. This time of day is specifically for me to work on my schoolwork. So throughout the day, making sure that you have those time blocks and you're sticking to them, because sometimes it's almost like our brain can get used to them being there, but we just have to try to mentally train ourselves to, no, I'm going to stick to this time block that I have in my calendar, not just let it sit there.
Yes, yes. And just sticking, I actually really enjoy the time blocks as well because it also gives you the flexibility to handle multiple things of that same task rather than it being so spread out. Like, oh, I just opened my email app, I just responded, and oh my God, I just was editing content about 2 hours ago. Now I have to do it again. And as you said that, in my mind, it processed that it'll make it easier for the next day. Okay, this was my email block. Any email I get after this, if it's not urgency, I respond to the next day on my email block.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually really need to hear that. Was great.
Exactly. And the thing is that I feel like sometimes in the hustle and bustle of society, we do feel like we have to immediately respond to things. And some things, yes, they are important. We do need to respond to them. But at the same time, if we aren't able to, it's not going to hurt anyone. You can always schedule things out too.
And I think just a tiny pivot to kind of open that topic up a little more. I think that actually goes back to just who do you align yourself with and giving yourself that time and respect that everyone doesn't have that access to just instantaneously have your response or have your access. And in the way the society has been formed, we're conformed to thinking we have to be accessible to everybody if we're giving them a service, if we're doing this for them, if we're doing that, because we just feel like we have to. But then it's
Mhm.
like that's how you get drained, that's how you get burnt out.
Right. And that's where the importance of boundaries comes in too. For sure. That's definitely where boundaries come in. Like if you are working, you're a 9 to 5 and your boss emails you at 8 p.m., let your boss know the next day, hey, this is a little outside of my working hours, but I will respond to these emails in the morning if it's sent after hours. Or you can even let him know, hey, boss, can you schedule these emails to come to me because I'm not trying to get triggered about work things while I'm off of the clock. So yeah,
Mm,
boundaries are extremely important when it comes to time management because sometimes you have to set those boundaries with yourself and how you're
yes.
sticking to your calendar, but you also have to set those boundaries with other people because they need to respect your time and they need to respect your calendar too.
I actually like that we brought up boundaries because that's actually a really, 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 really big part of accountability and time management.
Mhm.
Um, as I learned and as I start observing people, you can see how the boundaries they have with themselves, how it directly affects how they're um functioning in the world. You see
Mhm.
someone who doesn't have really strong boundaries with themselves, you can tend to see them in certain relationships, certain social settings, and certain things that you feel like don't align with them or they feel that don't align with them. So boundaries is definitely, I think, another major topic that coincides with this whole topic.
Mhm. 1000%. 1000%.
And to shift us to some little more fun, okay? Because we got serious. We talked about our boundaries. We talked about time management. We talked about accountability. We talked about habit stacking, time blocking, all you could think of to really set us up. You know, I'm
Uh-oh.
very big on next week.
Okay.
let's let's start day to day, like tomorrow, lightly incorporate some things, but definitely next week, if you have the time to schedule out your week or do whatever works for you, take some of these tips, but take some of these tips for the day to day. However, we are set up right now in a way that we can make these tiny habits be big outcomes in the end. These small habits that we are thinking about not right now, even listening to this, even reading a small book, investing in a wellness box, investing in yourself. In the moment, it may not feel as if it's contributing to your end goal, but 2 years from now, you'll say, oh my God, me doing the 10,000 steps a day did this, or wow, I read so many books and now consciously I'm aware of different things and I want to function different, or I just changed that one boundary in myself and I got to go home after work and feel stress free. So I appreciate all of the things that we have spoken about, but we would love to hear about a wellness box and all the things that go into it, the intentionality behind it as well.
Yeah, sure. So, Elevate Box, it is a monthly subscription box. It's centered on self-care and personal growth. And so every single month, our members receive a box of goodies delivered directly to their doorstep. I like to say we make it real easy for you. You don't have to worry about going out to get all of these things because we are doing the research to make sure that you're getting great quality products delivered directly to your doorstep. And again, it's curated to be an accountability partner in a box. And so when you're having these items delivered to your doorstep, you're also getting resources and a toolkit to hold you accountable to everything that you're doing as well. Plus, we also have a community. We do in-person events as well as webinars. So virtual events too, so that we can all stay connected. We're staying accountable with each other and holding ourselves to the different wellness and personal growth goals that we have. And so inside of each box, I have one right here. I won't unpack this one, but I'll share with you all an example. So this is our, I don't know if you can see it, okay. Of
No
course, it's
worries.
like the tissue paper is everywhere. But this was our February box. It's for Black History Month. And
So
it
cute.
actually comes with, it's all Black-owned businesses. It has a perfume spray. It has a perfumed body oil. It has a lavender bath scrub. It's got some incense, and it also has a two-piece workout set. And so it's all the products are chosen with intention. And also we are Ah, we're very intentional about highlighting majority woman-owned and BIPOC-owned businesses. And so, yeah, we are all our message is simple. We just want to help people to keep the promises that they're making to themselves. So if they say, "Hey, I want to read 12 books a year," well, we may not put a book in every single box, but we're going to make sure that you have books that you can read. We're going to make sure you have the workout outfits. We're going to make sure that you have the healthy snacks for you to discover and fall in love with. So it's a little bit of everything.
Oh, I love the snacks part. I love the workout part. And I just love the intentionality of also pouring back into other businesses, because a lot of people also have this same um, mantra and the same foundational purpose. So just allowing everyone to kind of shine a bit and help is just so, so powerful.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite parts about the business is being able to amplify other small businesses too.
Yes, I absolutely love that. So now what are some must-haves when you first started the box?
Mhm.
What were like two or three things that might be a little, you could say whatever you would want if it's more than two or three, that you were like, this has to be in here no matter what. It's something a little different than like the fitness, or just kind of like the baseline stuff, like unique things that are in there.
Yeah, good question. Honestly, the fitness apparel was definitely big because for me, when I really started my fitness and wellness journey, that I was going to the gym to look good, but I was also more going for my mental health. And so I knew that I needed to have fitness apparel in there to inspire people to just move their body. You don't have to go to a cardio class. You can do whatever type of movement you want, but just embracing that bodily movement for your mental and physical health. So fitness apparel. And then also I would say having the accountability piece and the challenges is one thing that sets us apart. And so every single month, in addition to getting these products in the mail, we do monthly challenges with our community. And that was huge because when I first launched the business, I was like, okay, Tasha, you're saying you're going to have an accountability partner in a box, but how are you truly holding people accountable? Well, we are
Mm.
different challenges together. And then the box itself is basically a reward for you doing these challenges and working on your wellness journey too.
Wow, yeah. I absolutely love that. Just the in the community you have too, because like we were talking about in the beginning of finding an accountability partner, sometimes it's not going to be someone who is just directly in front of you. It's
Hmm.
sometimes it can't be your best friend, sometimes it can't be a family member. And I love that you've built this community where everyone is understanding the same purpose, and it's a space where no one is taking offense, because holding
Yeah,
accountable can get a little jumpy, as you said before, someone trying to hurt your feelings or be a little negative or have a nasty delivery. So holding that space for women or anyone who is participating with the box is so powerful within itself, because it allows people to be them in totality without judgment.
100%. And I feel like with the Elevate community, it's a very strong, very close knit, and also very vulnerable community. We know that we're all there because we want to elevate in certain areas in our life. Not everyone's story is the same. Not everyone is joining for the same reason, but we know that it's almost like a support group
Yeah.
where you're getting really cool and fun products for yourself as well.
So now, two things. Hopefully, I don't forget the second. I know you talked about food. What was your favorite like wacky snack that was in there, or a snack that you were like, "Well, this tastes good," and then you taste it and you're like, "This has to be in there."
Oh, that's a good question. I already know exactly what it is. So it's a brand that's based out of the Chicago area. I believe they're from Chicago. I think so. Called Taste Deli, and they have it's called a cognac jelly drink. And it's
Oh,
kind of like a dessert, but no, it's kind of like Jello. So some people might use it as a dessert, but then there's also people who would use it as just a snack. I wish I had some left, but when I first discovered it, I was just like, my eyes practically lit up because I was just like, this. I never had anything like it before. The founders, I believe, I know it's two guys. Can't remember everything about the founders. This was something that was featured a little over a year ago, but it was definitely my favorite snack.
oh, I'm gonna have to definitely try that. I will, of course, link that in the description box.
Yeah.
But wow, the second thing, yes. Are you currently in Chicago where you are hosting these events, or do you guys travel? Are you looking to
Mhm.
expand and travel?
Yes. So currently we are in Chicago, but definitely we'll be looking to expand into other cities in the next couple of years.
I absolutely love that. And Chicago is such a I haven't been, but such a powerful, immersive just area. Like when I think of Chicago, I think of power. I think of just bosses. So I love that that's where you guys are founded. So
Mhm.
as we wrap up, you guys, we talked about every single thing. Now, we had a deep dive of everything that is in this wellness box that can give you not only ideas for your own wellness box, but you don't even have to do it yourself. You can just support and elevate, enjoy this powerful community. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed all of the little sprinkles and all the things we went through, because we went left, right, center, middle, but it was all cohesive back to holding yourself accountable and having that time management, which goes hand in hand, is going to be the key to drive you to your success that is defined by you. Do not define your success by society, quantified numbers. I have to make this amount of money, or it has to look this way, or I need this number on the scale, because that's not going to help you in this process. So many small things were said within this episode. So just take that into accountability and also allow yourself to have grace. So before we close out, do you have any advice? It doesn't even have to be about accountability or anything like that, but just in general that was powerful to you.
My biggest piece of advice would be give yourself grace because things happen. You don't want to be too hard on yourself. You don't want to be a perfectionist. Do the work that you were put on this earth to do,
Mm-hmm.
and give yourself grace. That's all.
Yes, I love that. Snap, snap,
Mm.
snaps. Align with your purpose, align with your power. So please tell them they can find you, where to get the box, all the fun things. And I also seen she has a playlist, okay? A Spotify playlist to give you that positive, high vibrational vibe. But please tell everyone where they can find you and where they can support.
Yes, yes, you can definitely find me at the Elevate Box on all social media. I'm on Threads, I'm on TikTok, we're on Instagram. And yeah, you can find us there. And then if you are ever in the Chicagoland area, or even if you want to attend any of our virtual events, sign up for our email newsletter, and then you'll be able to know when our events are happening.
Absolutely love this. This was another episode of Power and Poise, and this was a beautiful episode of really showing you how to take your power back in your day by holding yourself accountable, as well as staying poised with these wellness tips and practices to just make sure you are your best and aligned self. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.